The principle is what is important. In principle, we should agree we cannot waste 60 million to elect an MCA in a by-election or that kind of nonsense. Yeah. You remember within Jubilee, Ruto had come up with a new outfit, UDA.
Tanga.
So he needed to test Uhuru, to shake Uhuru. And if he succeeded, the Uhuru Raila thing will psychologically get a beating. And it worked. So this time we have DCP trying to test. Few countries can manage an election the way elections are managed in this country. I'm not talking of Africa. I'm talking of the world. Our elections are near perfect. Near
perfect. By-elections are here. We're going to have a lot of campaigns. We're going to see who is who in which region. Is the ruling party actually powerful, as they say? Is the loyal opposition hitting the ground well? I'm with Prof. Manyora. Prof, why are by-elections important in this country, especially when we are in this political heat of 2027 now, and when we're going to 2022, you would hear there is a by-election in Western, there's a by-election in Central. Who is governing this place? Why is that supremacy important?
Disclaimer. I don't support by-elections.
Oh, wait, why?
I was excited when I was on a BBC show and Watanzania walikuwa wanajadili kile walichoita rasimu sufuri, zero draft. I think it is something zero draft in Kiswahili. They are doing their constitution, so like zero draft, like we had in our. There was this provision, if I remember well, that made me stand up and clap, where we should not have by-elections. When we go for an election, we must have an arrangement. If something happened to the MP, either his election is nullified, or he dies, or resigns, or whatever reason, he vacates office, there must be someone to just automatically take over. And since it happens at the presidential level, why can't we make it happen at the lower level? Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because how do you define a poor person? I've said this so many times and people hate me. There are many ways of knowing somebody is poor. Of course, in Kenya, I was watching a video from Switzerland. In Switzerland, you can't define somebody's poverty by what they drive. Somebody could be driving the best car, but if you followed him, he's living in a very useless, not useless by their standards, modest. What here you will define maybe a person. But somebody could also be doing a bicycle, like there's that video doing the round. Ukienda kwake, this was a rich man. In Southern Africa here, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, you can't know who is rich, who is poor by way of dressing. So here we have like that. So in the absence of something to show you who is poor, there's one that can tell you. Wastage. When you see somebody engaged in wastage, chances are they are poor. Poor men, poor people, poor countries are defined by wastage.
Let's get back to context.
The context is,
yes.
I was just trying to say that I do not support by-election.
What do you mean?
We need to think out. But now to answer your question.
Let me just ask, because someone would think, should we elect an MP with a deputy or?
Then that will be worked out. That will be worked out. Because again, if you don't take care, somebody can kill another one to be able to take it. So it will be worked out.
Yes.
The principle is what is important. In the principle, we should agree we cannot waste 60 million to elect an MCA in a by-election or that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
Or 400 million in a by-election for a senator. Those are the records we have.
Yes.
You can Google how much it costs in a by-election. How much it's going to cost in Baringo to elect somebody who's going to be there for 1.5 years. Only stupid people can do that. And only poor people can do that. And so the principle is no. Yeah. How can it be discussed and we can arrive at? So your question was about...
I was just thinking, are we both stupid and poor?
I think they seem to work together.
But my question was, why are these by-elections taken with such seriousness? from both sides of the divide.
Sometimes by-elections are used to gauge. Even in America, the midterm elections, they are used to gauge to sometimes the forthcoming election, general election, or the popularity of a regime. So, in our case, in the past 2 or 3 elections, by-elections are used to test the differences that will have emerged. You remember within Jubilee, Ruto had come up with a new outfit, UDA.
Tanga.
So he needed to test Uhuru, to shake Uhuru. And if he succeeded, the Uhuru Raila thing will psychologically get a beating. And it worked. So this time we have DCP trying to tell Ruto ulicheza na sisi, wacha tukuonyeshe. So that's why they're very important. They also give an indication of what the next general election will look like.
Some say it's a supremacy battle between Kindiki and Mudavadi because there is a Malava by-election and Mbere by-election.
No, those are none.
Who will be
those are
Ruto's
not those are not participants.
Who will be Ruto's deputy?
Kindiki is not a participant. Mudavadi is not a participant. Those are non-people. They are non-issue. They don't feature anywhere.
So what's your advice to Kindiki and Mudavadi? They just let the by-elections be? Because
they will certainly be embarrassed. Mudavadi could scrap through. Not even him. UDA candidate will scrap through because there's a Farouk and the rest who are going to camp there. They could scrap through not just because of the resources they will deploy, but because the opposition, as usual, they are just doing stupid things. Why would DCP put a candidate there and then DAP puts a candidate? If they can't manage to handle a matter as small as that, how will they handle the national level?
There is DCP and there is DP.
Yeah. So Gachagua should just let Seth Panyako of DAP get this seat. They will not campaign. But you stand the chance of both of you losing. There is no way the DCP candidate will win. Absolutely no way. In fact, he will be number 3.
After UDA?
After maybe, most likely, as things stand now, DAP will win, followed by UDA, and then DCP will be the third candidate. So Malala is lying to Gachagua. The test of unity must begin now.
Okay.
The trust we talked about in the other program must begin now. So that Gachagua and Wamalwa must agree to field one candidate. Once that is done, the Malaba by-election is done. The rest is formality.
Okay.
Yeah.
The same thing is, I think, happening in Mbere, where there is DP and there is DCP, and there is an independent candidate who just left DCP. You've talked about the test of unity.
Yes.
How about the test of the opposition itself when it comes to governance and structures? Can this be seen through the by-elections?
How?
Because this, you expect someone who has just left DCP to be tamed in DC, not to leave the DCP and stay in, become independent.
Yes.
What can these things eventually happen in the loyal opposition, where you think you have someone as a principal and they've just left when time is nigh?
Those are the things you must guard against, and it is part of the thinking and the strategic thinking I'm talking about. You know, you can leave a coalition. And if people are organized and they are strategic in their approach to the election, they can render you useless, even an enemy of the people. But if you yourself are already fighting, if Gachagua and Justin Muturi are fighting, and one of their own has already bolted to be independent because of that fighting,
yes,
then they can't manage that independent person. He can even win. Or they can make a UDA candidate win. But supposing Muturi and Gachagua were speaking in one voice and selling the message to the ground of not giving Ruto breathing space in Mbere, even if that guy leaves, he will not get 2,000 votes. Even 1,000.
Then from what you're saying, you believe in zoning. Is this what you're saying? When it comes to coalitions, you believe in zoning, like what we saw here in Nairobi, where Polycarp was given the position instead of Tim. Is this what you're saying? When you come up with position and it comes to these lower levels, zoning is important?
It is important to consider whatever you want to call it. You may call it zonage if you want, but I just want common sense to prevail. It is common sense in Malaba that if DCP and the DAP run, when UDA and ODM have decided to go one, as one,
yes,
the chances of UDA winning are there. Remember, this is a by-election. A by-election, not many people turn up to vote. So the person with the most mobilization capacity, and which in a sense means resources, has a higher chance than the other person who may have what it takes to win.
And therefore you agree with zoning?
To that extent, yes. So for Malaba and Mbere, this nonsense of Muturi and Gachagua fielding candidates, UDA will win. They could win. In Malaba, I will not be surprised if UDA wins. I will not be surprised. And it will be such a stupid thing coming from people who think they can lead this country. Because then I can tell you, Ruto will go back. It is more difficult for them to agree on a presidential candidate than for them to agree on matters of who runs in Mbere, who runs in Malaba. If they cannot sort out the issue of who runs in Malaba, when said Panyakov, DAP is a front runner, I'm not sure about Mbere because I've not been following. There must be a front runner. If that front runner is a DCP, Justin Muturi should not say just because he's from Embu or whatever near there. No. That front runner, because it's always easy to know.
Yes.
That front runner must be supported and the others must agree to step down.
The easiest way is to look at the numbers.
Look at the numbers. Who seems to have the numbers? In Malaba, it said Panyakov, DAP. Those numbers will be compromised by the fielding of a DCP candidate. And UDA inaweza pita katikati. Chok! Alafu nikawaangalia, nitawaambia, give us a break. You are wasting your time. Let Ruto go back.
What is the expectation of IEBC? Now we have new commissioners. They're going to run this election. What will you be looking at when it comes to running the by-elections that we're going to have?
There is nothing IEBC does for an election. What role does an IEBC do?
Simply facilitate.
It is just facilitating players to play, and the winner wins. Even at the presidential level, there is nothing the IEBC does. IEBC has no role. It's an autopilot game.
There are people who are watching now, observing.
No, there is nothing for IEBC to do. Let me tell you. From IBC to IEBC to ECK, from as early as 1997, we had 92. We had perfected our game from the Chesoni with Kina Mukele. I remember them. Kina Jack Tuma. We had already perfected our game. Few countries can manage an election the way elections are managed in this country. I'm not talking of Africa. I'm talking of the world. Our elections are near perfect. Near
perfect.
It is the politicians, stupid, the politicians who mess our elections at the presidential level. Kwenda kung'ethia IEBC. Unajua kung'ethia? So even intelligent people like Raila, you find they have gone to IEBC. What are bombers? What is in bombers? Election has already ended. Make sure you manage your elections on the ground well. IEBC has proved it does its work perfectly well. It conducts the election. Anybody who should vote, votes. People who should not vote, don't ever vote from 1997. Is not possible. And then they put the results outside there according to the law. And then some people calling themselves leaders focus on bombers. They are leaving the votes in Luombei. Make sure you know your votes in the polling station. What Maina Kiai told us. What the law says. Hakikisha if there are 100 polling stations in the constituency, you are on the ground and you know them. When they are taken to the final place, which is the constituency according to the law, si inakuwa ni hesabu tu. Si hata mtoto wa class 3 atakufanyia. Sasa unaenda Bomas kufanya nini? Si umejua umeshinda Hamisi constituency. Si unajua kura yako. Si unangoja Matuga constituency. Dhidi ni Kwale. Si is 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. Unaenda Bomas kufanya kitu gani? So IBC, I can tell you, and if Isaac Hassan came and sat here, he will tell you what I'm telling you. There are few places in the world who have organized and perfected the mechanism and processes of election like Kenya.
Give credit.
I was a roving agent in 2002. And election observers from EU and the rest of the world were amazed that you enter primary school, the voting center. You can't enter the gates unless you are a voter. And the process continues until you cast your ballot. They were shocked. That was in 2002. My friend, more than 20 years later. What sort of perfection do you think we have? So don't look at IBC. IBC does its job.
Yeah, I think we'll have another conversation on what politicians need to do, because IBC, you've given them credit.
And I want to advise, and I've said before, there is no law in this country. The fear of the tribal clashes of 2007 brought self-censorship. You get it?
Yes.
There is no law that stops Manyora from thanking the people of Kenya by 9 o'clock of the voting day for voting for me. Because I know I'm the president. So I call my press conference. And I deliver my acceptance speech. And I thank the people of Kenya. What happens in Bomas is a formality. Because I'm the president.
Let it happen there.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling politicians. Don't go to Bomas. There's nothing in Bomas. Thank the people of Kenya by midnight on the voting day. Because you know your votes. You know so far the votes that have come in. Even if your opponent got all the remaining, they can't get you. You call an election. Calling an election is not an offense.
Your advice too to those in by-elections.
If it is an offense, I beg to be forgiven. Let me just be educated, then I'm forgiven. But to the best of my knowledge, calling an election is not an offense.
Because you have your numbers.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation. It's a litmus test by election, who's superior, and a test for the loyal opposition. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.